Next panel, technology, right? Technology is going to change everything. The impact of AI and machine language on global mobility and immigration. Of course, we have to have Umesh Vaidyamat on this panel. Please, Umesh, join. Yeah, this is a pioneer right here. Umesh was putting software in the cloud when people didn't even know it was about to rain. That's for real. Okay, also on this panel, Sarita, Venkatesh, where are you? All right, come on up. Sarita is head of, yes, thank you. Welcome. Head of Global Mobility Group at Wipro. And she has a lot of expertise and experience in the employment tax, immigration, mobility operations, and technology. She's been leading in mobility strategies with diverse teams, implementing solutions in the global workforce management environment for 2 decades. So we're so lucky to have her with us. Lakshmi, Sampath, yes, please come up. Thank you. Give her a hand. Yeah. Lakshmi is Vice President and Head of International Mobility Operations at Standard Chartered Global Business Services. Welcome. Appreciate you coming. You came from Chennai, did you? Yes. Well, love when people will make the journey. Thank you. She's skilled in both HR and mobility, and like so many of us, the other adjacent issues of tax and relocation, policy and procedure. Prasanna Aravamudhan. Yeah, come on up, Prasanna. Thank you. Associate Vice President and Senior Principal of Global Immigration at Infosys here in Bangalore. This man is a prominent face in the immigration community here in India and everywhere else, speaks in forums frequently on immigration and related topics, working closely with the business leaders and staffing strategies, and has built excellent and strong relationships with the business units, the government authorities, consulate offices, industry experts, and a bunch of other friends and people around the globe. Jyoti, Dayananda, and Swamy, come on up. Yay, Jyoti. Director of Global Mobility at Capgemini in Bangalore. This is an agile and compassionate leader. I like that. Thank you for your compassion. Again, like the rest of these excellent panelists, so much depth of experience, has a postgraduate certificate on international mobility management from the Magellan Institute in Paris, and has a lot of experience in the risk management, compliance, and data analytics, as well as organizational change, which technology will be affecting so much in the future. And finally, Praveen. Praveen Hebbale, are you there? Come on up, join the panel. We may have to find another chair. How about one of these? You'll be standing? I don't know about that. I got it. Thanks. Here, Praveen. Here, bud. Oh. Yeah. All right. Thank you, panel. Take it away.
Thanks, Jake. This is the easy panel, and I've got to be very watchful. I see Umesh on it, so I better be careful about what I watch, what I ask. But I think it's great to be having such an esteemed panel. My problem with such a good panel is I run out of time. There's so many thoughts, so many ideas, all this expertise flowing in. So I'll see what best I can do to get the best of all you have to offer to this. So we'll keep it conversational as much as possible, and we'll try to get as many ideas as possible. Pitch in, get in, dive into anybody else's comment if you want to add on or do something, or if you've done something more on that point, etc. We'll get started. I think we have an interesting mix, largely IT, but we have somebody from the banking space, which is a big thing. And when we have Umesh, who's been a technologist and built a company, sold it, then started something else. So we have an entrepreneur here. So it's a great mix for us to start. But I'll start with you first, coming from your banking experience.
Sure.
Actually, banks and financial services have always been easy or early adopters of technology. But do you find the same, because you handle the immigration role now, so is there a conflict? Do you see the adoption of technology for immigration and mobility as much and as easy as it's been for banks? And is there a conflict?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I find it easy and comfortable is what I feel because, see, hiring a vendor into the system, especially into the banking, is very difficult with all those cloud approvals, etc. But it takes a longer time to hire them in the system. But moment we have them, I think it becomes a lot easier, seamless, and effectiveness. Because see, one thing that I can proudly say is we are from the banking industry, and we don't leverage on our technology a lot because we invest in vendors who has the best systems. Okay, I can proudly say we have the best systems in place in Standard Chartered, where we have done in the last 2 years enough of digital transformations. Okay, post-COVID, we felt enough of digital transformations has to be put in place, and we've come up with best of the technologies in the last 2 years. So I find it very easy is what I would say.
That's an interesting perspective because intuitively I would have thought otherwise, but this is a very interesting perspective. One advantage with Prasanna, Jyoti, and Sarita is you all come from large corporations where technology is taken for granted almost. You're all tech companies to start with, and you take technology for granted. I do a quick fire round. What are the top couple of gains you've seen in the last 2-3 years of using technology? What are your top gains, your top 2 things that come to your mind?
I'll pass it on to lady first.
Yeah, please.
So when you say about the top games,
Top gains, what benefits have you seen using technology?
why are you questioning on the games? Because he's going to take that.
No, we're not speaking about PUBG or Fortnite here.
Exactly. Maybe being a teenage mother, so yeah, games is something which is running in my mind. Okay, so I think top gains, I would say, like while we say that, we can talk about enhancing employee experience or process efficiency and all of it. For me, the way I'm looking at, and because of the organization I represent, from an automation and digital transformation, what we are going through as an organization, it is mainly the integrations what we are looking at from a global mobility platform to the internal teams. So that is itself is giving an employee an experience end to end, from while he enters the on-site, like onboarding to the exit process also is something which we are looking at. So that's what I see as a top gain perspective.
So she's already spoken about employee experience. I'm not going to talk about that. But 2 things I would see as a gain is one is the behavioral change of the stakeholders beyond what immigration or the mobility team is. Earlier, it used to be not on the system, so nobody used to know who's taking the most time in getting a petition ready or a work permit ready. Today, our statistics and our analytics show everything. So it's easier to show the mirror, if you want to say so. So the behavior of the users is something that's changing because it's always data-driven. That's one thing, that's a gain. And 2, we are more analytical now. Earlier, with the data not being there, we thought we were always on the receiving side, but now we are on the giving side too in some tables. So those are the 2 gains that I would say, probably.
So for us, Praveen, it's been largely document handling and efficiency that we've built. We were early adopters of AI. GMG, our function, had 2 use cases, and we were one of the first few from the business operations function to actually go on AI. So document efficiency, we've got a verification process driven through AI. And it's improved significantly our TATs, our SLAs. Our team now can focus on better advisory as well. We still want to have the human touch, which can't be, I think, put in the backbench, but I think efficiency definitely.
Great. I'll come back to you on the AI bit. That's the elephant in the room. I'm not going to miss that, but I thought I was almost speaking in terms of the pre-AI age. Anything to add, Lakshmi?
Just one thing which I would like to add is the real-time information, how much you can actually provide to an employee, right? So today, if I just have to pick up one topic, which is one most challenging thing for an assignee who moves, is shipping, right? So if you have to just move your goods from one country to another, they keep following up with the vendors. They keep following up with the GACs to understand where are my goods stuck. Mm-hmm. Okay? So how much can you actually integrate your systems so that they are they don't have to depend on anyone. And real-time integration is actually a key, and I'm sure it's going to bring down our TAT, and that is something that we are exploring, and we are almost there.
Efficiency, behavior, turnaround times, integrations,
and they are just able to focus on the deliverables, right? Most often than not, they come and tell us, like, I'm here for something, but I'm actually expected to do your job. And that's something that we keep hearing from our assignees. So we are not an AI yet. We are a bank. We are from banks. So we just leverage on the technologies that the rest of our vendors they use.
That's great to hear. So Umesh, when you built INS Zoom, were these kind of things the problems you were looking to solve, or these are just, there were bigger problems you solved and these are the other effects? How do you see this, Umesh? What is the intent when you built Zoom?
When we built INS Zoom, right, it is almost 25 years back. So we tried to solve the exact problem that they're talking about. It has taken years to really have the law firms and companies adopt technology to interact with each other, right? But again, we still, based on the panel, what they're saying, right, it is not done yet, right? Because there is a behavioral issues, right? As Lakshmi was saying, the employees keep saying, look, it is not my job, it's your job, right? So adoption of technology, it takes time for people to do it, right? Is the technology good enough to make it easy for them? We're not there yet. With the technology that is out there as of till date. But along with that, with the arrival of AI that has come, especially in last 12 months or 15 months when ChatGPT announced what it could do, now there is Anthropic, there is Gemini, there are a lot of products are out there. So I think some of the challenge that we're discussing right now, I believe that can be addressed with AI through agents. I think we can talk about more in this one, but the exact problem can be solved, if you ask me, with AI, because there is major difference with an AI and existing technologies. AI can literally replicate a human behavior to a certain level. I'm not saying it could replace, but I was hearing today from Anthropic CEO yesterday that AI is going to be smarter than human beings on the earth by 2027. So if we can build an application using that kind of intelligent system, it can literally work with anybody in real time to give the answers people are looking for, right? What Lakshmi was saying, people need real-time information, and when you want to change the people's behavior, people are more likely to provide information if there is a quick response, right? So I think it is a dawn of a new era, that's what I would say.
Sure.
I think after 25 years, what we are seeing today is something phenomenal. Even Jeff Bezos, who retired from Amazon, he's back into working again. And he could just stay home and enjoy his life because he's so excited about what's happened. I think this is one of the major things with technology. Even personally, I'm excited. And that's what makes me to be doing what I'm doing right now. I think we have all the challenge, some of the things what we're talking in this panel, I think they can be addressed eventually in the next 1 or 2 years. And there are many companies who are already building the solutions in other industry. I'm sure that's going to come in global mobility as well.
Great to hear that. I know you're just holding on to your horses to speak more about agentic AI and all that. We'll get to that. But quick question. You pointed, Lakshmi, to the fact about using outside vendors. And I know Wipro, Infosys believe in building their tools internally. Cuts both ways, right? For your volumes and the customized process, it makes a lot of sense to build something internally. It's your money. You have a lot of coders around, so it makes sense. But then, because you build something and therefore you're invested in it, does it cut you off from the opportunity to use the latest and the greatest in the market? Because I know of companies which use vendors to actually up their technology quotient using the latest technology and absorbing that to kind of up their own technology quotient every few years. How does it cut in? What goes? Very quickly,
Okay.
but stick to the vendor usage first.
So you have two things, okay, merits and demerits. Okay, if you have your own in-house technology, I think you can get what you want. And in terms of cost, I think you're able to meet up your cost requirements. But definitely, we are not equipped enough to have our own in-house technology for sure, at least as good as our vendors who are able to provide the best of the tools that we have today. So I think now that we have given our job to someone else to perform what we want, we are now able to focus on the rest of it, right? So you're able to focus on the governance piece, delivery, etc. So I feel it's a lot good to use vendor tools. My take is that.
For the length and breadth of the countries that we deal with, or the subsidiaries and stuff like that any company deals with, it is good to have an in-house one, but a balance, if there is a plug-and-play module that somebody can give faster, that could certainly help, because sometimes it's just that you don't have time to develop. But the positive side of it is, you know what's your priority in a dynamically changing world in terms of customer requirements, in terms of which new country you're going to go into or what you want to do. There you know what your priority is. You can always deprioritize what you aspire to do, a good to do things and stuff like that. You can deprioritize. What you want on top of your top 3, you could pick them and push for that to come out on the system. So that's the advantage that I would see. But if there is a balance that's possible with smaller plug-and-play modules to help certain projects or something, that would be the best. But today, not all of them are there yet. The number of companies are more, but it's quite tough to fit into or where you plug and play. But yeah, it would be good to have a balance.
So I think personally I would watch for what Lakshmi is saying, like an external tool, based on what the organization I represent as well and what I've seen. So it is mainly to leverage the strength of what we have in the market. Like, some tools might be very good in a particular model, whilst others might be in other ways. Now, even the external vendors as well, they themselves are going through a transformation, I would say, technology transformations. They themselves are partnering with different, their, competitors, I would say, like, in those aspects. So for me, I would like to leverage, like, at least for us, it is mainly like, if a particular tool has a strength, then I would rather make sure that they have an integration towards a different one than do it. So that's how I look at it. Personally, watch for an external tool and use it. So it's a combination of multiple vendor tools is what I would say will give a solution, especially for an organization where it is just not immigration heavy, right? We have, especially for a global organization with the infrastructure and structures what we have, I think that's how it is.
I'm glad we have a very diverse opinions over here, very divided in some nature. But I think for us, we know our business much better. It's very, very complex. Our stakeholder management is extremely complex. We want to be able to build rule sets, as and when there are changes in strategies. We want to probably also simplify as and when we want to do that. So that flexibility, I believe, comes from our in-house built systems and tools. And I agree, we are probably a little late in adopting the latest and greatest because somebody else has already done it. But we are very watchful of what that will elevate us in terms of providing that experience. How can we harness what's out there in the market, understand it better? And to what Prasanna said, I'm not just saying we might not have tools in the future that we want to get from third parties. We're open to it. But we take more pride in building our tools.
I see a couple of deep company loyalists here. But Umesh, I'll bring you, as the technologist in you, 10 years back, we would say, yeah, our processes are complex, so we need to custom build our technology. Integration is key because orchestrating all of this together is going to be complex. But with the advent of APIs and how the world has progressed, isn't integrating multiple systems much easier now? And isn't the whole ability to weave in multiple systems together, picking the best immigration tool, picking the best tax tool out, etc., weaving them and orchestrating them together, isn't it much easier? And therefore, is there a better case today for using the best that's there in the market rather than building something of your own?
If you ask me personally, my opinion, being in a software vendor for last 30, 25 years, right, I would always propose, buying a product in the market that is out there, because if it is not your core strength, it is best to basically go the best of the breed. That is what is missing in that, then you basically augment with your internal team. So big corporations can afford to have internal teams and build it. But however, for smaller companies or mid-sized companies, they cannot have their own team, because one of the key people that are needed to build a product in-house or build a system, you need to have people with a vision, right? That only happens in through entrepreneurs. For example, I'm going to talk about, let's say, you want to build a tool for compliance, okay? If you want to build a tool for compliance, do you have a person who understands the compliance really well? Are you going to keep updated what is happening, right? You can build the tool once, and the person who built, let's say, quit the job, then someone else comes in, and let's say he doesn't have the vision, then he gets stuck. I think that's where, for some of these tools, it really makes sense to get them in the market as opposed to, unless you can invest in that. Because we had some of the Fortune 10 corporations use Zoom in the past. So they had the muscle and they had the budget to do it, but they chose because that was not their core. So, but one thing that I've noticed in India is companies love to build their own product. They want to build their own tools here. They are very passionate about it. That I've seen that when I speak to people off stage also, when I speak to them, they're so passionate. Look, I built this tool, it does this, it does this.
Yeah, we can see that flowing in a couple of.
So, that's great. I mean, if there are people who can build and allow, that's wonderful, right? So, but now, with the AI coming in, I think it's going to change the game. We can talk about, and afterwards, this on the same. It's not going to be about building tools and APIs. It's going to be a total solution. I think that's the future. It's going to come now. So.
I agree to what Umesh is. Probably the muscle part or what you do. Big companies tend to do it. Most probably the IT or the consulting companies who can give the structure or the framework and go. But you're talking to a wrong person, Umesh, because if there was a system and there was something that we could build internally, this gentleman drew the structure for it 20 years back. So now he's sitting on the other side and trying to corner us here. So don't fall into those baits.
I've left my history behind. So this is a quick rapid fire for each one of you. So I'll just run it off the cuff. So you said you use external tools. Do you believe you're able to maximize what they give you? They give you 100 features. What percentage of that you actually end up using?
80%.
80%. Fantastic. That's a very good,
80%.
good percentage.
There is a challenge. If somebody is going to just go by the way that I'm saying vendor tool, I'm watching for vendor tools, that comes with GDPR, right? You have your own data privacy and prevention, etc. So we have to be very cautious about it as well. Yeah.
80% is a fantastic number because most people use far lesser than that. Jyoti, I'll get to you. I know you've just been through a large transformation in this journey. What was more difficult, the data or customizing the workflow to your processes? What was it more difficult?
So I would say both, actually.
Pick one. There's no gift hamper, but it's a rapid fire. One question answer.
So I'm sure all of them will watch for data, but I will pick the transformation, the customization part of it. Because for us, it was just not transforming the global mobility process. So it was just like, there's a tool out which will give me the end-to-end immigration and assignment management, COCs, LCAs, everything automated. I have a separate model. It was not that. For us, we had to do a transformation along with the complete employee life cycle itself.
You're selling your transformation program. Sold. Done deal. Let me ask you the next. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please go on.
No, please, go ahead.
So the question is, look, and maybe you can also chime in here. How important is a global mobility tool for the organization, and therefore what money are they willing to put on it? For large volume players like Infy, Wipro, it's a done deal. It's a core of their business model, moving people where the talent is to where the talent is required. But for something like StanChart, are they willing to put top dollar there? And for Capgemini, it's a global program. Was the budget a big consideration in your transformation program, or it was free-flowing?
It is a constraint to get approvals, but without that, I think it's very difficult for you to run a model because you have to have a workflow in place. How would you monitor someone's movement, right, end to end? So I think having a workflow and having a tool that supports you is very, very important, and we truly believe in that.
Sure, okay.
So I think every organization will have a budget constraint. So you will have a budget constraint. So you'll go to the review board and other aspects of it. So what are you going to gain versus what are you spending is going to be important. That's how I look at it. So if you're able to present a business case that these are the benefits. Now every benefit cannot be looked at from a cost perspective is how I look at it.
That's nice to say, but money matters. Everything else walks. Sarita, quick question to you, right? Was compliance the biggest reason when you built your tool, or was it more efficiency and transparency? What was your bigger focus when your discipline of the process? What were you looking at when you built your own tool?
I think it was both, but definitely the volumes that we deal with required a tool that did what we did at such scale. Today, our compliance is also very important to us. We've got great insights from our tools to tell us where we stand in terms of our compliance dashboard. So if you're asking me to pick one over the other, I think both of them went hand in hand. We've built both of them, improvised on the modules that we work with.
So Prasanna, the last one in the quick fire round to you. I think we all have an over-glorified view of our own processes, maybe justified in them, but I think we tend to overblow it a bit. Therefore, do you believe a tool is a wrapper around the process, or the great tool will change the process itself? Or BPR, business process reengineering first, and then build a tool around it? Or get the greatest tool from the market, and that will change your process and bring you efficiencies? What does it work?
The BPR too is what works traditionally because, like I said a little while before, right? What is important for you? Which market or which process or where you want to staff people is more important. So if you have BPI is already drawn, it's more easier to go there, and that will give you efficiency and control and compliance already. So it's the traditional way which works. More than the agile model, I'm still a waterfall guy, so I would prefer
The world's changed, it's all agile now, so waterfall is history.
Agile is the glorified version of waterfall, if you would ask me.
Agile is a glorified version of waterfall. Okay, maybe yes, maybe true. So quickly, we'll just move on to the next one. So you guys have seen enough technology, lived with it for decades, improved it, so on and so forth. But if you were to look back and say, what else could be changed? What are the current problems you're dealing with? What are those things which are not yet solved? Which gives me a good segue to then subsequently ask Umesh, does AI have answers to those pain points, right? So what are the top couple of issues which you think your current tools haven't solved yet? Not just in your company, just take a crystal ball view and say, what could be done more? Because legal services notoriously have low absorption of technology compared to a retail or finance, for example, right? So are there problems that have not been solved for immigration yet?
I think one of our biggest problems, and I hope it is for everybody else, is tracking assignees.
Tracking
They're on the move all the time. You don't know where they are. You know, they tell you they're in one place. We spoke about that largely yesterday, seeking legal advices. Tracking assignees.
Did somebody not offer you an option of embedding chips in your people? No, I'm just kidding.
So Praveen, I think Umesh was making a comment saying AI is going to replace human beings. I think one thing is, I still believe, and with complete confidence I can say, people would love to hear over the phone saying like, hey, where are you? I don't think they would love to deal with chatbots. If that's going to be the world, we have to change. But that moving them to that is going to be a real change, because today we do briefing calls, we call up, chase them, ask them too many questions. They have the comfort of reaching out to us over the phone. So human empathy, trust, so human connection.
So all the technology hasn't solved the human empathy, and you believe AI will not solve the problem.
AI will not, I
You
don't
want
think it
better
will solve.
tracking, we'll figure out if there's an answer for that. Jyoti?
So I think it is more of the regulatory complexity which comes in. Okay, so around that and compliance part of it definitely is there, and also I would say the increasing employees' expectations. So, for example, everything is available in a tip, like a mobile app for everything. You just need alerts on mobiles that okay, this is the status of it. So, we are talking about the new generation people where they've used to it, and nobody is going to look at a knowledge bank and read through it or look at they expect all the answers around those aspects. So, and definitely the employee tracking part of it.
I was also thinking the employee tracking is one, but more than the employee tracking, can it gauge what actually the person is telling us that they're going to do and what they will do at the end of it? Is it right? Because we, at least in a company like us, we deal with techies who always will find a way how to go through the system or any tool that you bring in, right? So are you able to evaluate the weight of your petition or your visa? Can AI help me do that? Can it be the maker? It can be the maker, but will it allow the specialist in me to be the checker and actually work on the domain than deal with papers and documents is something that I will look at.
Interesting views. We've seen tracking repeat a couple of times. You also subtly hinted to what Prasanna was saying, that if there's a way to predict what the outcomes will be, you'd like to see how the empathy, you believe it will not change, but if there's an answer, you'd love to have that. So, and you had your own views about language barriers, so on. So, Umesh, I mean, leading on to the elephant in the room, there is enough technology. A lot of companies using it for decades. You've built one, and then this is like a seminal moment in all things technology. We know AI and everything. And while these are problem statements here, is AI fundamentally set to change the way technology is viewed by immigration and mobility professionals? What's your view on this?
I was in San Francisco in the month of early November first week. There was a conference where several VCs had come in, and they were, it was a conference about VCs, what kind of companies they're investing in. So the trend that we're seeing in the Valley is they're funding companies that are going to really replace jobs. Yes, it will not take away all the jobs, but certain jobs in any organizations can be done with AI much more efficiently on all the problems the panel spoke about, right? So right now in one of the startup that I have called Medicodio, what is that we're doing? There are folks, basically, they are trained to do certain kind of job in hospital billing. They get 9 months of course training, then afterward they get certified, then do the job. 80% of those jobs will be eliminated in next 5 years. I'm not kidding. That's what is happening. That's what the company, we are doing that as well. So can it be applied to global mobility? Absolutely. So here are the 3 areas, right, what mobility team does, right? Let's say immigration team. There is a team that collects documents and validates it. Then another team basically files petitions and documents the decisions, right? That's usually done by a outside law firm. Third one is to basically manage compliance. And these today with AI has the ability to do reasoning to a certain extent. Let's talk about the first one, that is collection of documents and validation. That can be completely automated. It is possible. And I would say 90% of the work can be automated because it is not just it is following instructions. It can really, you can apply certain level of reasoning. In another year or 2 years, there's going to be much more reasoning power with AI. With that, those jobs can be gone, whether it happens in mobility or not, but in other industries, those jobs will be gone. The question is, has anybody building that product or technology in the market? I haven't seen that yet. I have seen many companies coming in, they're building case management software with maybe with a better UI or maybe better UX, but nothing that is phenomenal that basically changes the whole game. So the next companies that are going to come in the market are going to be not only mobility everywhere, they are going to really go back and say, look, how many people do I have? 50? You know what, I have a tool, it can replace 10 people with my AI. That is the products that are out in the market. And I know several people who are building them, and they're easy to sell. The people who are guarding that, they may not like those tools, but it is on the way. In another 2 years, they are being called today, called agents. That is a word that you hear in the industry. In another 6 months, they may call something else, but the word they keep saying agents. So they're going to be document collection agent, there could be compliance agent, there could be, H1B processing agent. So most of the work will be done by these tools because AI can literally think and act like to certain level human being. So even I was amazed when I started seeing the AI, and every day I look at it, what it can do, and it gives me goosebumps. That's how exciting it is. But the sad part is just it's going to replace jobs. But I'm sure there's going to be something else to be done. Like as she was saying, we can call people because human-to-human connections will not be coming to the machines. But again, that is what human beings are going to do. But to add a spoiler to it, if you guys not have seen the movie called Her, it came in 2011 or 13. HER, they just called Her. I think you should watch. In that movie, the hero breaks up with his girlfriend. Then he buys on a phone. It basically is a chatbot or whatever it is. It becomes his best friend. It is nothing but actually what you see today in a chat GPT. And you can ask questions, it can do, right? I think people are going to become more comfortable with AI in the future than with the fellow human beings. You should watch that movie. You can really see how scary that whole thing is. So.
Thanks, Umesh. That kind of opens the door wide open for the possibilities ahead. And in 6 months, we'll be speaking about some new possibilities, I'm sure, the rate at which things are changing. And then I think many people are leading to the point that with AI, I think there are only 2 camps, right? You're inside the tent, who are developing AI, or outside the tent using it. There's really nothing else. So I think the message is quite clear. AI is here to stay. If you're with it, you're riding that wave, then you can gain a lot more out of it. If not, you could be at risk, at least to some extent is what I get to hear. But I would like to see, what else are you hearing? Prasanna, Jyoti, Sarita, what are you hearing in the market? What use cases have you seen specific to immigration or mobility which people can take back home and probably look at implementing in their organization?
See, more than the use case now, I'll use the crystal ball stuff and let you know. More than what the companies do, the companies will find their way, the technology companies will find their way, or they'll have partners like what Umesh suggested earlier, and there will be companies coming up, you can find the balance there. But what I would like to see is how much would it help authorities do it faster, agile, and of course, H1B itself, it's an example, right? Start from January, you plan from whatever, and then it goes till next October. Can it make it faster? Can decisions be more accurate and faster? And can it be more predictable? It's not related to any country. It could be across board, right? Can AI or Gen AI help authorities? It could be a consular, or it could be the immigration authorities, Bureau of Immigration, whichever country it is. Can it help them find? And can it get the past records of the traveler to make it easier? That's one thing that I would. That's one thing that I would like to see from what AI can do, because I'm sure many will adopt. And I was just remembering when Umesh was talking about the numbers. World Economic Forum has also published something. I was discussing with Rami and Behram a couple of days back. So there are going to be 170 jobs that's going to be displaced. It's what the report says on a survey from 1,000 odd employers. But it is going to create 92 million or 80 odd million jobs, which will be new. And most of them are going to be AI and ML driven. So there is going to be interest, there is going to be, but can it be used in a better way? And can it be more predictable? Can it be faster, is what I would look at, can it give?
I see Prasanna leaning a lot towards predictive analysis, and I think that's fundamentally what AI offers, right? I mean, the deterministic pieces are done, the probabilistic thing is where AI really brings its weights in. And I like the fact you mentioned what World Economic Forum is saying. I think that's a likely possibility, and at the rate at which it's going, it will be very much on. Jyoti, any quick thoughts?
I think from an AI standpoint, yes, I think we are taking a little baby steps, I would say, with cautious, because it's still an initial. So we try to look at looking at using ChatGPT for a couple of very small modules with the organization. And I think during our tea break, I was having this conversation with Prasanna. While we say we could do that, like somewhere there should be a maker and a checker concept, right? So it's like while the ChatGPT is giving you those answers, I think we will have to still review and check whether it's gone to the right answers. It's
So
still
you
developing.
like the output, but you don't trust it enough yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So certain examples from our end would be, we already have a platform, we provide platform that we use. About 20 functions are already on the bot. We've transitioned really quickly from an FAQ bot to conversational AI now. So very cognitive. You use national language, the NPLs, LLMs of the world. But I think we're taking this a little step further, moving not just in the immigration direction, but looking at talent supply also, a good fit, and how to use AI in matching skills, demands, and visa readiness, visa availability. That helps with our predictions for visa numbers in the future, and really look at countries that we might want to scale down on visa processing, where we probably have a surplus of visas. So we're kind of integrating that with supply and demand as well.
Lakshmi, any quick one?
So nothing in global mobility yet. Like Jyoti mentioned, baby steps. We haven't even started. I would say we are not there yet. But using vendors and leveraging on them for the AI. But one thing which the organization as a function we are doing is they have introduced chatbots in other areas, not on the global mobility, but yes. And this has brought in efficiency, and a huge efficiency, I would say.
Yeah, that's my question, which are we underinvested on technology for mobility, and therefore is there more space? Because I think Oliver's here from IBM. They've built a conversational chatbot, Ask HR, and he can speak more about it. It's fantastic. They've eliminated a couple of layers of HR business partners.
That's a stream we have introduced.
And everybody in IBM loves it. Her, he, I don't know, but loves it.
It's the same with us. We've got travel policies. We've got policies, HR policies. Contracts are reviewed through AI now. There's a lot of efficiency that the organization has actually benefited.
See, the bots part is all okay, Praveen. On just to be on the other side of the table, right? What it can't do, or if it can do, I would probably take that is, can it help in an emergency situation? You have an employee or the family in an emergency situation. It can probably give you a checklist. It can probably tell you have to do this, these are the steps, these are the things that you got to do. But when somebody is in emergency, or the family here is grieving, or the colleagues are grieving, it always will turn back to humans today. Because it's about the connection, it's about what you do. I will probably use the bots to tell me what are the steps, have I covered everything, because I'm also going to be in panic to do things faster, and I'm also emotionally somewhere disturbed. So will the bots do that, at least in global mobility yet? I don't know. I will, of course, talk to people when we are outside at lunch, and I'll see if it can help somewhere in emergency or not. But yeah, that's one thing which I would probably wish that if it can come and give ideas. The agentic AIs, could they give an emergency agent? Will there be an emergency agent? I'll ask people outside when we talk.
Interesting. I mean, this is crystal ball gazing. And what other wild thoughts come to you? I mean, what else would you do? What else would you want such a thing to do magically for you? I mean, any other wild thoughts on that?
No, I think I like the idea of this emergency water. So because I think whenever we get a request, it's always like, you skip all the top 10 steps and go to the 11th step and get it done. That's how you do it. So I don't think, and as long as Umesh can drive, get something around that, then that'll be.
So, valid one. But then there is this question, right? All your companies are large, dealing with large amounts of data, and there's, you're a bank, you're a large company with huge focus on data privacy, etc. Is governance, worries about data a big thing for you guys? And therefore, does it limit your ability to use large language models which are outside your perimeter, so to say? And does that create a question for you? Or some other companies I know have created their own internal AI models, and they're using that. It's a limited store, but it still helps them. Which way are you guys thinking? Is that a worry? Data privacy, data obfuscation, and all key things?
So maybe I'll just take that first. So I think, yes, I mean, that's definitely there. We'll have to be very cautious about that part of it. So what we have looked at is, like I mentioned about the baby steps, we have not explored this ChatGPT with any outside vendors. This is an internal tool where we have, like Ask HR, what they were saying, we have an internal tool where we are trying to include the mobility aspects of it so that it remains there. So that's how we are trying to keep it as compliant as possible around the data part of it.
Like you mentioned earlier, Praveen, we don't have any restrictions from government using this, okay? We haven't had any such instances in the past. But one thing, yes, like you have, in-house is different, to vendor tools are different. When you use vendor tools, yes, it comes with its own challenges where you give them access to your documents. So you have to make sure that they only see what they are expected to see, and they don't have access to other vendor documents, etc. So that way, yes, it's a very big challenge, and we have to be very cautious in giving them access to what they are expected to see.
Praveen, automation, AI, whatever the journey that you want to call it, if it's an automation journey, to me, automation is equivalent to one's individual compensation. It is never going to be sufficient enough. We will always have to find the balance of saying, is there a variable pay, is there a performance bonus, is there something else, A, B, C, D, but it's never going to be the right mix, right? Whatever you do, you always want more. So we are on a journey like what, last year it was ChatGPT, but it's now Gen AI, it's now agentic AI, we don't know what's next. So it's, I will say, automation journey is equivalent to an individual's compensation.
Great thought, great anecdote to take back home. So Umesh, that gives you the segue to the last question. Like Prasanna said, what's next? We are now moved away from just chat bots to conversational bots to using large language models, etc., to agentic AI, workflows, etc. What's in the horizon next before we come back for the next RelayZen conference here, what do you think we'll be speaking about in the next 2026 RelayZen conference about AI?
I see that there are going to be, any company that's going to be successful, they're going to build agents that are going to replace a real job in a particular organization. That's what those companies want to be successful. You can always build a little tool for this and that using AI or a chatbot or OpenAI. But the company that will be successful, they can literally pinpoint, okay, in your organization, this job, this digital worker is going to do. That's why Johnson Huang said, the moving forward, the employees who are going to onboard, it is not going to be your HR, it's going to be your IT department. That's what he's saying. I think that's going to come in near future. So it's already started just.
Yeah, fantastic, and that's what Prasanna was saying. In the next conference, you'll have a bot doing this moderation and not me. Thank you, Prasanna, that's very nice. But thank you, people, amazing conversation. We could go on all day with this, but amazing insights. I learned a lot. Thank you so much, and we will see where the 2026 RelayZen conference happens and how evolved we are technologically for that. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, sir.
Awesome panel. Thank you, Praveen and panel. Thank you so much. Hey,